Okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone. We are back for yet another episode. Last week, we were live from the Tempe Public Library where I gave a presentation, and today we're back in our streaming studios, offices, wherever we have those today. I'm Sam from Thermo Cosplay. I've been cosplaying. Ooh, I'll have to fix that in a second. But I've been cosplaying as of uh, 10 years as of March. Yeah. So that'll be good. And I will move to Chibi. And I'm going to fix Facebook because it's doing its stupid API thing again.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chibi Raincloud. I'm the Seattle Light cosplayer. And I'm cosplaying Leona from Twisted Wonderland today because he's one of the boys that have had the wig for a while and haven't done yet. So, Sakura Ulrich did the wig, and the costume is from Doki Doki. But I've been here for a while. I'm really excited about this episode. Another near and dear to my heart. Cosgear is something I've been helping out with, just kind of like beta testing and watching this app get developed. And so, of course, I'm excited to talk about it and show you guys all the cool features because it's very refreshing being part of a community that listens. It's so cool because when we as community go, hey, we'd like to see this in an app, it actually happens. And we've watched it go from a baby, like, post the cosplay you're working on, like, here, add, like, these tasks, to you can add your measurements, you can do videos, you can add pictures, you can, like, pull up your reference as you're working on stuff. There's so many things that this app has done, and it's totally amazing. So I'm just excited. I'm hyped.
And then I'm Cosplay Choco. I haven't been on in a while. I've been busy. I moved. So I'm in Savannah, Georgia right now for school. Live from my student apartment.
Live from Cosplay Choco Studio Apartment in Savannah, Georgia. Wait, Georgia?
Georgia.
Okay, good. My brain was about to die there for a second. I was like, wait, oh no.
And yeah, I'm pretty excited. Listen, I don't plan, but I recently just used Cosplay Planner and it made con crunching like so much easier. I don't think I'll ever go back.
I agree with you. Like, I typically don't con crunch, but that's because half the materials I want I can't get locally. I always choose weird freaking fabrics, or I choose vegan leather because it works good for some of the weird stuff I do. And I'm like, man, I can't just crunch. It's stupid. The 2 times I've con crunched, it didn't go well. So I just
You
don't do
con crunch for like other people, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do more often now. So we're going to go ahead and share. So Cosplay Planner is by a company called Cosgear. Cosgear is mostly known initially for their tails and their ears. Like everybody here, I'll share Cosgear while we're getting everything ready. So let me share there. Where is it? There we go. Oh, no, that's the wrong window. I need this window. I have too many windows. Okay. So this is Cosgear. Most people know them for their moving ears and moving tails and the cosplay tech that they create, but they also came up with a cosplay planner. I used to use Cosplay Planner by oh gosh, what was his name? Kato, not Kato. Was it Kato? Maybe it's Kato. But there's a cosplay planner that I used for almost the past 10 years, and it was great, but he's had some problems getting enough support to run his app. And so over time it's just it's kind of deteriorated in its support. So I was really excited to see that Cosgear came out with a new cosplay planner, and they even had the forethought, like Chibi said, to actually reach out to the existing, like, to the community. And I've had Vettel from Cosgear contact me like 3-4 times now, and interviewing me how, like, the first time it was an interview of like what cosplayers need. Then it was like, how is beta? And then it was like, okay, we're moving into alpha. How's alpha? And then it was like, what do you think of the new updates? What could we add? So they're very community driven.
Yeah, you can actually go join their Discord. That's where most of the activity happens. That's where we go, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to see in the app? So it's really freaking awesome. We have some comments too. Mariah Bell, I freaked out recently because recently thinking Emerald City Comic Con was the beginning of February, not the end. So I've started my con crunch.
Hey, sometimes it's good to have the wrong month in mind, then you accidentally get 30 more days. So like, yeah. Or I guess in the case of February, like 28, 29, no, it's a leap year. So.
Yeah, start crunching now. It's actually crunch time.
But the app is perfect for Con Crunch because it's been developed and since like a lot of us Con Crunch. I think that's just it's a cosplay thing, maybe a crafter thing. But when they set it up, it was very much like, here's the time it takes to do this, or like you can put in the date the costumes due, and put in alerts and things like that. And I like that the function is like, they have it set up where it's like the tasks you need to learn, the tasks you need to buy, and then the tasks you need to build. So kind of you can actually like separate your tasks pretty quickly, because usually when I'm doing a build, I have like, here's the one thing I want to learn how to make for this costume, and then I can put in how much time that takes me. Because like Deuce, my last one, I had to learn how to vinyl from scratch. So that took me a lot of learning time. So yeah, here's Sam's Cost Planner. This is going to be the online version, but you can now get the app. Go download the app in the Apple Play Store or a Google Play Store. Totally free, ready to go. Yep. And
well, and the cool thing about the app too is it actually, you can use the desktop version if you're using your browser, or you can like GB said, you can download from the Play Store or whatever. You know, I think it's iPhone. Android and iPhone. I think it's both. And it basically just takes this screen you see here and just scales it right into a portrait view, and it's very easy to use.
It's very easy to use, and I will say there might be some bugs. It is still in its beta forms. It's still an app being developed. So if you do find some things up, a picture's not uploading, or comment won't delete or something, you can always reach out, and then the people developing the app will go in and fix those problems. They're usually pretty prompt, like within the week of going in and changing any development things that might be going weird.
Yeah, and I'm kind of happy that I waited to access and show this to everyone. I've been accessing it on my phone, but I waited to access my desktop until this episode so that you could see like the tutorial walkthrough for each section. Like you can add this and do this. So I was going to share while we were doing this. This character, I could only find like 3 decent photos, so that sucked. but no, it's really nice being able to find, and there's all different kinds. I mean, I think you can upload like short videos now too, and
yeah. The cool thing is you now have a reference library as well. And so as you post pictures, you can choose to make them private or public. And if you choose to make them public, you can help other people, because those images that you're using get put into the database, basically the library. So if somebody else is building something similar, if they put it into the database, they'll see your pictures as well and be like, hey, I didn't find that when I was looking this up. That is so cool. And I actually already used it. I found out there's somebody else making a Hua-Chang on Cost Planner, and they had some really solid screenshots from both the Danwa and the Manhwa. So I was like, I'm going to put those in my Cost Planner, so I have them and I didn't have to look.
That's
it's
so
really
helpful.
Yeah.
That's so, dude, that guy has so many details on his costume, actually. So that's extremely helpful.
I was so hyped when I saw other people. Plus, you can see that other people are building like in the same series or the same shows, because you can search things either by show or by character. This is the hype page, which is the newest addition to our Cost Planner. It's amazing because it's kind of like social media, but it's not. Like, you can like people's pages, you can follow people to see what they're working on,
and you can comment and ask questions if like they did a skill or technique and you're like, I don't know, I didn't have that same experience. How did you make it look so smooth, or how are you able to stabilize it that way? You can comment that way if you need more information too.
But the focus is really on building. The focus is on whips. The focus is on putting out what you're working on, and to really like make the community discuss and talk and like get hyped over what we're building, which is why it's called hype. But if you're not into the social media side of things, you can turn it off. You don't have to be participating in social media. I know sometimes it's really intimidating and heartbreaking when nothing gets hyped or nothing gets likes, especially whips in like, let's say Instagram. My whips never get very much traction, but my finished piece always does. So this is really nice for me to like, oh, here's all my whips. It's where it's going to get its traction. But I don't necessarily want to post any of like my final builds, because that's not what I use this app for. Or you can just turn it off altogether and not worry about it and just focus on the planner side of the app.
It's
like, I'm curious, I can never find anything for what I want, but they do have a community, like we were saying, the community library, and if you just leave it to open, it will show you a whole bunch of stuff. So, oh
Mhm.
look, there's Baldur's Gate. It's probably just based on like watch if I type in Asterion. Everyone's gonna have tons of photos. Of course, it's Asterion.
I know, not Karlak. I just need.
Everybody wants photos of Asterion. Oh, maybe I can look for Karlak for you. Maybe they'll have Karlak.
Ooh, they
see.
should.
Let's see if they have Karlak. Now it might be a little slow. It is newer. Also,
Mhm.
this is based off of what people. Oh, like you look at this. Look, the community
Let's
has uploaded some
go.
really good screenshots of Karlak.
We love that. Listen, the back is
Yes.
necessary.
Having a community like place to just be like, hey, I'm gonna just dig in here for pictures instead of playing the Google game is so
Yeah,
nice.
I literally just went to my character and took horrible pictures from my TV and was like, I'm not going to use this color palette, but this helps me get the details I need. And I went to like when the character levels up, I just kept rotating them before I could level them up so I could get all the photos that I needed.
Yes.
I was like, maybe
That's
it'll help
so
someone
funny.
else. I don't know.
Yeah, and the app is really cool because it's for everybody. If you are a casual cosplayer, a contest builder, because for the casual cosplay, it's your typical, here's what I need to buy list, here's what I need to work on list. For competitors, it has timers in it, so you can keep track of how long
Yeah,
each
let me go into
costume
the
takes.
costume build section.
It has a budget. It's really good about like, I mean, granted, there was a large chunk of us in the Cos Planner Discord that are all competitors. So we were like, hey, can you put a timer in here? And they did it.
You know, it's terrible.
Also-
I never use the timer. I'm really bad
Oh,
about it. I just
I
I
randomly
never.
I put arbitrary numbers in here and then I base the time because I usually record everything I do so I can take pictures from it. And that's how I know how long I've been. I'll look, I'm like, oh, look, I've got 40 hours of video.
That's a great way to do it though, because then you can keep track of your time. And then
Yeah.
also it's great for commissioners because not only can you put
Yes.
in your measurements, you can put in other people's measurements. And it's a really detailed model that you're putting in. It's not just like height, weight, shoulder length, like it's multi different types of measurements. So especially if you're a commissioner trying to get like props right, wigs right, like you can put in like head to chin length. You can make sure like, oh, their body's this high, which means the prop's got to be this big. It's really nice because it really is focused on what do all cosplayers need and not just like a generic mold. It gives you a variety and you don't have to use the things you don't need.
Yeah,
I will
it's
say, like,
also.
this is a good advice too, right here. Don't measure yourself. If you are unfamiliar with measuring yourself, I completely agree with this. If you're familiar with it and you know the ins and outs of measuring yourself, cool. Unless it's you're trying to get like length, then you probably would want someone to help you. If it's like your legs or stuff, because bending, sometimes you end up messing up the outseam or the inseam of something by moving. So you would need some help with that.
Yeah.
Also,
I think measurements are really important for shopping, which people don't really like. I feel like people underestimate, especially like the more intricate ones, like the arm sockeye, which is like the opening of your shoulder or like the width of your shoulder, is like really important for like shirts and like dress shirts, suits, those types of things, jackets, which is like a common mistake I see with what people make with shopping a lot. So I'm
Yep.
happy that they have like all these intricate details for measurement.
And they've good advice on the side of it too. But we were mentioning that there's the build. I mean, you can add tasks so you can make the task can be buy, make, or learn. You can have whole sections dedicated to things. And this was like just me for Safina. Like I've done stuff for a long time, so I just needed the basics of understanding that I needed to make these few things, like what I wanted to prep, what I wanted to craft, and what I needed to finish. Finishing for me is usually like painting or makeup testing or stuff like that. And I forgot to add makeup testing in here. And the day of, I ended up doing a bald cap for the first time. It turned out okay. That does not normally happen. So make sure that if you are doing makeup or something that you haven't tested yet, and like you have a section saying, hey, these are the things I need to test to make sure I know how long it takes and if I can even do it without help. But there's also, we mentioned progress photos. So the photos and videos that you can add into here now. So this is essentially now become a build book. You no longer, a lot of conventions are moving away from physical build books, at least in my area, simply because You know, it's kind of wasteful to have something that you're usually only going to use for a single moment. Most of the time, the judges have nowhere to put it if you bring a physical copy in. So a lot more people, especially with judging, I've seen them bring in just like a larger, like a cheap $50 tablet with this logged into it, and they set it up, and we can just scroll through the tablet while they're talking through what they've built.
I'm one of those old school peoples that likes the build book, but I use this to organize what I'm going to put in my build book.
Yeah, I kind of like this a little bit more than like Google Docs,
Yeah.
just because it's like everything's there, like not just your pictures, but your notes are there, and
Yeah, you can do
like
sticky
your
notes saying, "I
progress
used
of
this
it.
website link," or, like, you could tell, you know, because you used a lot of techniques, Choco. Like, I've had you talk to me about, like, some of the things you go, and I'm like, how do you keep that all in your head?"
One of my favorite features is go to the crafter section, and then so Sam, if you want to show them, go to just like the building section, so where you're putting in tasks, and go to the far right hand corner. There's a little button over in the far right. Click on it. There's your references. So as you're putting in your details, if you can actually pull up the pictures, I think it's better on the phone because the phone shows like a full icon picture. I mean, you can change the size on here, but like while you're putting in your details, you can have a picture like right beside you as you're working on it, or maybe you're putting in your time and stuff and you want to have that image up, or like I suck at makeup, so I usually do like a lot of like face stuff so I can get like the different angles, especially with like Leona has a scar on his face. And so I have to keep that in mind. And so I'll have that up while I have like my Cosplay Planner up, and I'll have the pictures right there so I can do my makeup. But it's really cool that it's all like while you're putting stuff into your planner, you can look at the picture without having like an extra Google page open or something else on your phone that you're switching back and forth between. This is just one of my new favorite features that I'm like, that has saved my butt so many times.
And then you're talking about what other Choco, you're talking about links and stuff too. What else did you put in when, like, because you're talking about how you prefer this methodology for progress photos?
Oh yeah, I just like just having my notes and my pictures kind of like right there next to each other, rather than like separate, because like sometimes I'll have a Google Doc and then I'll look at like a pic and I'll be like, what did I do? Like, what was happening here? Or like, what was this for? And it'll be like a seam and I won't know what it was for. I also just like it for like budgeting. I'm kind of a stickler in terms of budget. So I think it's really nice to have that, especially because sometimes when I finish under budget, it's fantastic. I'm like, ooh, yay, I get to buy something else, or I get to buy an extra fancy detail for a cosplay I thought I didn't have the money to get. So I think it's nice.
Yeah, I agree. I always end up spending more than I think I'm going to, too. I'm really bad about that.
I put the Cosplay Planner app in the chat, so if people are interested in joining the Discord to get the discussion started, go ahead and check it out there. You can also check out their website to download it directly, or like I said, the Google Play Store. I'm the same with budgeting. Like, I am terrible. I'll be like, I only need this much money, and then at the end, I'm like, did I count when I bought this, this, and this? Probably not.
Like, no. Yeah, no, that's the curse. And my problem usually ends up being that I have makeup that typically has a one-time use. Sometimes I can make it work longer, then I forget, oh yeah, every time I wear this costume, now I have to get this makeup piece. Like the bald cap, it's vinyl. I can't reuse it. So I have to replace it every single time because I'm allergic to latex. I get to buy a $27 bald cap every time I wear this character, which is why I probably would only wear her once or twice a year. So those are just the weird things. And it's nice that you can track this, though, because you could just keep adding to the, like, look at how many times I've done this. You can also, when we talked about it, I don't think we've done it yet, but you can add events. So you can say, hey, the reason I'm doing this is because I want it in time for this event. And I never actually put completed in here. Oops. Anyways, so
I'm gonna pull up mine for a second so I can show you what it looks like, because Sam's isn't quite as developed as mine.
Well, I've only worn that character to one event, so
right. So can you see mine on SteamYard? I can't see what's going on over there.
I have to stop my sharing. Hang on.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, yours is up now.
Okay, so this is just my juice. Kind of the same idea. You can see the thing I like is like you can check it off, and like this costume is pretty much completed besides a couple of details. So like you see where everything is crossed off, what needs to be done, and like I now can look into there and see what things need to be done. And then let's see, project information. Uh, Progress technically at 55, even though it's completed. But you put your deadline in, your budget. But what I was going to show you is the web feed. So in this one, I do have a couple pictures that I shared. So like at the very bottom, I have my progress that I've shared. And so here's everything that I've shared within the whip feed where other people can see. And if you go in here, I like that it's set up pretty easily. You have just like your picture, and then you have, of course, a little tab if you want to scroll through all of their pictures of what they're working on. But what you can do, let's see if I can find somebody that I'm friends with. Well, Corbin. So you can go onto their page and see what other things they're building if they're public, which makes me really hyped because I'm like, 7 deadly sins. Oh no, I have made friends with this human. And so you can follow them, you can follow their progress, and it's really well done. Super easy to use, except for when I can't. Yes, please. But like it shows what cosplays are working on, a little bit about them, and then of course what they're working on. And you can always private, or so like I think in mine I have a couple of them privated. If I go to my profile, so these are what I'm working on right now, and then it just shows like the top of my where I'm going next is usually what I put in my bio. But this is what I see, but if people looked at my profile, I believe these 2 are privated. So they would only see these 6. And I have 2 of these because one of them is like my picture dumping, and then the other one is like what I'm actually working on, because I was, as we were developing the app, I was in there and we were trying to figure stuff out. So I ended up with 2. Don't mind it. But it's really fun. And I like that it's like social media, but with 0 pressure. And it's still small enough that you can scroll through everything in a day. And like, she's in Discord right now. I love Pink Petal. Their costume is so cool. And I've been watching their whip in our Discord as well, because they're posting in there. And you kind of get to know all these young cosplayers and like get to know newer ones. I found out there's a couple people in my area, like Colleen's from my area, which is super cool. And but it's just like, it's really wholesome, and I'm really enjoying that it's low pressure social media, because I love the idea of social media, but it's very like,
In theory,
yes,
we like social media here on a podcast where we are on social media.
yes, but like if you're trying to make friends or talk more to people or like discuss how you're building things, I feel like Instagram really loses touch. Like it's very hard to reach out to somebody and discuss something and then keep a conversation going. I'm one of those people that doesn't check my messages that often. Sorry, guys. But like I'll usually reply to somebody if we're talking about cosplay stuff, but half the things you get in Instagram are just like bad ads basically. So I tend to not look at my messenger. With Cosgear, I'm like, oh, this is always going to be about cosplay. And so I usually message, like I'll check my comments and my messages within Cosgear because I'm excited to talk to more people about cosplay. Not that I need another platform to do that, but like it's a lot easier and it's low. Like I don't feel like I have to like really put up a front. Like everyone in there we're all doing whips, we're all showing our raws, we're all showing all these pieces that are incomplete. We don't have to have this like perfect image at the end of the day. It's, hey, this is what I'm working on right now, and I look like a gremlin doing it, but that's what this app really promotes. And so it feels really nice to be like, yes, we're all gremlin cosplayers.
Yep, no, I agree. So I guess what we could do is go through each one of us and start to kind of talk about like how we set up our cause planner, because I know everyone approaches it differently. So Choco, do you want to talk a little bit about you said it made it easier for con crunching. Why did it make it easier for you?
Yeah, so usually when I con crunching can be kind of overwhelming because you're trying to get a lot done in a short period of time. And organization kind of helps a lot with that. And with Cost Planner, I can break down absolutely every single step that I need to do. Like even like cut leotard fabric, like that can be a separate one. Sew it up is another separate step, you know, like breaking down those steps like even more so than just like make a leotard or like, you know, like make a prop helps me a lot. Just because sometimes those steps can be really overwhelming and I get kind of like executive like dysfunction sometimes when I con crunch because I'm so overwhelmed about what I need to do that I don't know exactly what I need to do, but Cost Planner helps me with that. And I also have, when I do my cosplays, I take inspiration from like more than just the source media itself. I'm often being like, okay, I know this is a clown gesture from like this web series on YouTube, but I'm also inspired by like real life gestures and Shakespearean clothes. So I can put all of those pictures in there too. Or I'll be like, I just really like this collar from this shirt. I'm going to like take that picture and put it in my little inspo real quick in my reference pictures. So I like that. Or I get like, I often like want to put symbols of the show into like the costume that I'm wearing. So I'll have like random screenshots of like the backgrounds and stuff in those too. That's usually how I set it up. And then I usually, I start with a budget because I'm thankfully, I've been pretty faithful to my budgeting. Thank goodness. But
Tell us your
um,
magic. How do you do it?
like, I'm just not picky about materials. I think other people are, but I think I know that I can manipulate a material to be what I want it to be, even though it doesn't want to work that way. Uh,
That's a good
like,
point. I have such terrible allergies that I usually end up getting stuck with things I don't necessarily want to use because I can't use the cheaper alternative.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just really strategic in the sense of like, oh well, I know enough about fabric manipulation that I can just do this, or like I don't have to look for a printed fabric. I'm just gonna make this fabric or stuff like that. So that's usually how I tackle that. But yeah, I also just very rarely order fabric online. Um, Ordering fabric online can get pretty expensive, especially if they're really nice quality. Uh, Fortunately, we all love mood fabrics. Everyone dreams of mood fabrics, but they're pretty expensive. Um, but even when there are sales, though, I'll give everyone that there are sales. That those are really great. I'll splurge on like maybe a specific fabric.
That's why I
I
like
also
to
have
try and set up the costumes that I'm going to do at the beginning of the year because then I have like a list of what I know I need to shop for. And the minute a sale happens, I try to get everything on that list, and having Cost Planner helps.
I'm so proud because I started doing that. I'm now that I've worked with Sam for a couple of years, I'm like, that's kind of genius. So me and my cosplay partner actually like probably like a week ago sat down and went, okay, what cons are we going to? What are we wearing at these cons? So we have a generalized idea of what we're building for the future. And so we can start ordering stuff kind of like throughout the year. So we are more prepared by the
Yeah,
time
so
the time
if you
comes.
don't have like a deadline, sometimes shipping can be even cheaper. Or
yeah.
sometimes when you don't have deadlines, they don't charge you anything for shipping because they don't have
Just
to
like
worry
just
about.
get here when it gets here. No, and it's been really helpful actually. Like I'm really hyped over my lineups already, and I'm really excited to go. Okay, well, I'm building this for this convention, but like I can work on these pieces, or my next big like competition build is huge, and so now I'm like, okay, I can start gathering pieces and start kind of putting it together because I have like about a year to build it, a little less now. But it's been like I started taking that and then having Cost Planner where I can, as I come up with those ideas or I think of the things I need, I can just huck them in there. So then later down the road, a month or two, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to buy this fabric or I'm ready to buy this paint. I can look through my notes that I already existed, or like Choco, I'll put like in my sticky notes, I'll put like a link to like, oh, this is the paint I want to use. I'm not ready to buy it now, but like I have it there. So it's all in one place. That's so helpful.
So I think that's one thing I'm going to ask, because all of us obviously approach things differently. What do you plan cosplays around conventions, or do you plan cosplays around groups, or do you kind of do a bit of both? And then also, I know some people plan cosplays around when like the media is going to be released, like when it's coming out, so that it's fresh in everyone's mind. Like, what is your preference?
I think a little of everything. Like, I'm not, other than the media, like I never cosplay things that are popular. It's not that I'm like I'm the cool kid. It's just I'm usually not into those things. It takes like a year for me to get into things. Like I am just going through my Demon Slayer phase. Like just started my Demon Slayer phase. I am years behind the wagon for that one. But I'm gonna do Tokito. It's gonna happen. So like I tend to plan things around conventions. I feel like the pandemic really like messed that up for me, because now I'm like, oh, this opened up a whole new, like, I can do meetups outside of conventions and like plan groups and do these things. And so now I'm starting to like branch out and be like, okay, well, Anime Washington was thrown onto my list like a month ago. So I was like, what am I going to do? And so I just made like a half-hearted comment of, oh, I think I'm going to do Susie for one of the days because he's a costume I've had on the back burner. And then like 5 of my friends are like, we're doing Donmei, let's do it together. And so now we're doing a Donmei group. So now I'm actually doing the wig and putting effort into it. You can't see it, but I'm working on the wig up there. So like, it's just, I tend to do things with people. Every once in a while, I'll pick a costume that's just like my passion project. So like Holo is one of my passion projects. It's just something I really loved and wanted to do. Twisted Wonderland is 50-50. I'm usually doing group stuff, and so that kind of determines who I'm going to be. But I also have characters that I just love, and I'm like, I want to build this. Like Star Cinder Deuce was very much like, nobody's going to know what this is, but I'm doing it because I'm in love with it. And then like my next big build is going to be Overblatt Malleus. I'm not doing it with the group, but I'm going to do it anyways, because I want to do it. But for SoccerCon, we're doing a Twisted Wonderland group that's very specific. I'm probably going to do another Twisted Wonderland boy because my partner's doing their ship, and I'm like, I just want to be cute and gay. And then we've decided, because our favorite band is going to be there, we're cosplaying from an anime that band's been done in, like they've done anime for us. So we kind of plan around the event. Like we'll see what's going on. We'll see like if there's a guest that's cool that we're interested in cosplaying from, or like for us, like SoccerCon has cool bands. So we're kind of like, what's the music scene going to be like this year? And then we'll kind of go around that. I used to also do groups and like photo shoot groups and stuff. So I cosplay from gatherings. But now that the pandemic's opened things up, I'm kind of like, here's my convention list and here's what I'm working on. But if I have time, here are the like things I'm going to do in between. Because like this summer, my goal is to get Aina from Promare done and to get Seraphi from the Sacrificial Princess and the Beast King done, so I can get I just really want to do photos like when spring hits and when summer hits, because that's going to be the best time to shoot for them. But usually it's, hey, I'm going to do a group, or I'm going to go to this convention and that's who I'm going to be.
Oh yeah, I mean that tends to be. What about you, Choco? I think you're probably, is it the same for you, or are there other things that influence you as well?
Yeah, a lot of the times it's like groups. Groups are big for me, just because like cosplaying with other people and cosplaying with friends is like a huge motivator for me. So those are the ones where I usually have like a set plan, just because I don't want to miss out on it. And then sometimes I'll have like passion projects. Those I don't necessarily set a deadline for. There are things like, oh, I would like to have it done by this time. Or like competition. Usually I try not to set any cosplays for competitions now. More like, okay, if I finish my passion project and it happens to be done in time for a competition, then I'll compete. It's a little bit, in my experience, it's a little healthier that way. Doing it that way.
Lesson yet.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
no, I actually like, I mean, I have Safina done, and like she needs repairs, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make the repairs and the updates. I'm gonna compete with her at a smaller event just because I haven't been on stage in a while. But while I like competing, I don't like competing at large events. Every time I go to large events, my stage fright comes back that I thought I took care of years ago. And it comes back tenfold. So if it's a smaller event, I tend to be okay, because the performance aspect of that tends to be diminished. Whereas if it's a larger event and there's a larger crowd, they expect so much more of you. And so it's like,
Yeah,
So I'm
it's
showing on my
very
screen
odd.
real quick. This is the cool thing you can add in your Cos Planner is you can put the type of events that the costume's meant for. We have convention, meetup, photo shoot, video shoot, live stream, Ren fair, party celebration, public event, private event, paid event, vacation, or other. And you can put in like planned, completed, in progress, the
Can I
location it's
just
going to
say
be
it
at,
weirds me out that some
the
people go on
times.
vacation with their costumes, having traveled and gone on vacations. Like, I know how
Okay.
expensive
I
it
think
is.
it's great. I think
I
it's
do
great.
it.
You know why? Because Jack Sparrow on a cruise ship
I mean,
is so funny.
I
Like
know,
that's
but it's like,
why.
well, yeah, now I have to like take at least a third of my suitcase and dedicate it to costumes, and maybe I
90% of
bring
my
more suitcases.
vacations are cosplay related, so I don't know what a vacation outside of that is. But usually when I'm going, like, yes, I'm going on vacation having fun, but if it's a location that's not like a typical scenic location in my area, like i.e. I go to somewhere tropical, I can bring a costume to do a beach photo shoot that I normally wouldn't be able to do, which for me is really exciting. One of my favorite cosplayers of all time, I think it's Serena, they're on Instagram. They are from, I believe, France originally, but they travel Europe and do photo shoots in Europe with like scenic things from your favorite animes. And I'm like,
I
these
think that's where I'm a
humans
little spoiled.
bring
Arizona
me
has like
joy.
every freaking climate. We have access to whole bunches of like old stuff, and I don't know, we're weird. We're just like
Wait, I
like
don't have
a
a whole
living
lot of
museum.
access to things. So like when I go on vacation, I'm like, let's do a shoot here. Let's do this there. So for me, vacations are like, not gonna lie, me and some humans might be planning like a Disneyland trip so we could do Twisted Wonderland stuff. Like, and I, yes, have never been to Disneyland, so I kind of want to go, but I'm also like, but Twisted Wonderland and Disneyland, please.
Yeah, going to Disneyland dressed up is a little better than going not dressed up, in my experience. I also have like paid events like for costume done because sometimes I get like sponsored somewhere. So I have to have a costume done in time for that or
Well, and I'm assuming that's where
like
the cause planner would help you out even more too, because you can prove you're like,
yeah.
here, look, I have a living document showing all the work that I did. So if it ended up taking longer than you expected, you can be like, give me that money, the extra
And
monies.
like, it's also cool that you can put everything and you can put multiple events. Cause like the last cost planner I used to use, it was a fantastic planner. I used it all the time. I used it for like probably a solid 15 years. But it sucked because if I changed phones, it didn't travel with me. I didn't have an account until like the last year or two. And then two, you can only put like one event. You can only put like one set of things in there. And so it was like, well, I tend to do a costume for multiple events because of how much time and money it takes. So it sucks that I could only put like one thing in there. But like, so the one I showed was my Moran, which so far is only Sakura-con. Probably going to be doing more events with Moran because I love him. But like with my Deuce, I've had like multiple soccer cons, KFX. I took him to SummerCon. I'm taking him to Anime Revolution. Like I end up doing a lot of events for him. And so having it organized where I know like how much time do I have between each con to double check if the costume's ready for another convention is very helpful.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to get more and more into I'm just going to keep reusing costumes that I have or updating them too, because you can take costume. I've got costumes, some that are really old that just need like sprucing up. So I'll throw the existing photo into Cosplay Planner and be like, hey, these are the things I need to fix. Like I said, Safina, I made her in kind of a rush just because I was learning how to do corsetry and that took me longer than I expected. And so I need to completely remove the skirt. The weight of the skirts caused too much strain on the corsetry and caused like a rip in where the boning is. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go through and remove this, separate this, separate that, separate this. Add now that I've lost weight too, the underdress is too loose. So I'm gonna have to remove a panel. And like those are things that you can track. You can go back in there and either duplicate or you can add just another section underneath going repairs, fixes. And I like that you can see the whole history and how long you've had the costume and the effort you've put into it. And sometimes that makes it feel as though I have, because a lot of the times people don't think about the costumes they have been working on. You know, like maybe you didn't make a new costume this year, but how many did you fix up? How many props did you have to remake? How many repairs did you have to implement? How often did you have to go in and create maybe freshen up the paint because paint needs to be freshened up? there's just so much that you should do to costumes to maintain them that sometimes you forget that's still a project. So I kind
Yeah,
of like
even
that
with
kind of
bought ones, even with costumes that you buy, there's a lot of
You
uptake
guys.
and upkeep that
Damn.
has to be changed with those. So I agree. It's good for that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about bought costumes for me. I am like, oh, that looks great. I'm gonna buy that, and then I spend 15 hours fixing it because they never fit me the way they're
The
I've
supposed
just
to.
I always buy either like the cheapest possible one or I buy like the bought cosplay used and
Yep,
I'll be like, all right, this is now gonna be my pattern. This is like a
until
very
it's not out of it.
expensive
I
pattern.
I'm starting to get to that point. Like, so this is a bought one, but it was a hand me down because I didn't know if I liked the company yet. My friend was like, "Well, I'm selling it because it doesn't fit me right." I'm like, "Cool, sold, got it, awesome, super cheap." And now I've used it like a solid 8 or 9 times minimum. Like, I use this costume because it's super comfortable all the time. But I recently also got a. It wasn't the one I was going to originally do, but I got a Wei Wuxian, like the younger Wei Wuxian from the past season one, and I was like, I wasn't originally going to do this costume, but now that I have a cheap one that was just a bot costume that was kind of a hand me down to me, I'm going to do a really dramatic photo shoot with blood and water and like do a pond scene because he's from the Lotus Pier. And I just like, I don't feel bad destroying this costume and doing a cool photo shoot in it because it was cheap and free for me. So
Yeah.
like, I am super hyped about that. And then if I really wanted to, I could use it as a pattern. I've done that before too, or I've gotten pieces where I'm like, I don't really like it, but now I know how to do it. So I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, because like I mean that's what I've had to like. I mean I go to thrift stores and I just buy stuff that generally looks like it and take it apart so that I understand the structure because I have a good understanding. But I think a lot of people too assume that Cos Planner can only be used if you're making stuff, but it can be used for buy. I mean that's the whole point
Everything,
of
yeah.
them having a section that says, "Are you buying this?" And then when is it going to be delivered? What pieces that you need? Because a lot of times when you're buying a costume, it's not just the costume that you need. You need wig caps, you need a wig, you probably need makeup, you may even need like undergarments. Some of the idols and stuff, they have so many bloomers or petticoats or hoop skirts, and so there's other elements associated with it that may not come. I will say a lot of costumes do not come with hoop skirts or petticoats. You have to acquire them separately. And so same thing with tights. More and more are coming with like designer tights if they've got printed, but if it's just a standard set of tights, they're not going to come with it. And so the Cos Planner can be used from even people who are just trying to purchase costumes, to give you an idea of just how much work you're putting into acquiring and then making sure you have all the pieces. Because I've had some people go, I have my whole character. They go put it on and they realize they never actually
Oh,
bought
my
stuff.
socks! Like,
Yeah, oh, my shoes.
oh.
I didn't paint my shoes. Oh my God,
I
I have
hate
shoes and didn't paint them.
Yeah, I hate missing like that one little thing. Like I like missing that one little piece. I will literally have like especially for a Genshin cosplay, you know how many little pieces there are. I missed that one little piece and then I'm like, guys, I can't wear this. Can't wear this. My ascot is missing. I can't do it. I'm missing one bow. I'm sorry. I gotta go.
That's why I use my Cos Planner halfway for this is my shopping list or my packing list because it has all the details possible on the piece so I don't forget. No, it is so crazy. And like I'm really excited because the next costume that I do like probably for a competition. Well, I'm competing in Anime Washington after that one. I'm probably just doing a skit, so we don't have to worry about our craftsmanship. And so I'm just buying my costume, but I'm still going to put it in Cos Planner because I have to buy all the pieces for it. And I'm like, okay, I need a wig, I need a jacket, I need an undershirt, I need pants, I need shoes, I need socks because his pants are freaking rolled up, so he has different colored socks. Like I'm putting it in my Cos Planner, even though it's a bot thing, because I don't want to forget any of the pieces when I'm packing. So I'm like, okay, this is the costume. I have everything. It shows that it's 100%. I know exactly what I need to pack now.
Yeah, for sure.
And
'Cause I'd
we have
be
comments. Anthony, hello, ladies. And I love the ears and tail chibi. Thank you. These are super fun. I think I think I remember seeing Cosplay Choco. Yes, we've had Cosplay Choco before. They join us quite often. And then Maribel, sorry. Don't remind me about petticoats. I'm currently making all the gathers for one. I
my
don't
heart is
like
out to you.
making them. Good luck. Good luck.
Sending the good vibes.
Sam, we lost your audio.
Oh shoot. But yeah, petticoats, that's another thing. You're gonna want it's an advantage of that because it's not like one of those things where you can I mean, in theory, yes, you could sit down and sew a whole petticoat in one sitting, but who wants to do that?
Yeah.
Hopefully. It's nice that you have the percentage gauge so you can be like, all right, I'm 50% done with this petticoat. Ooh.
Yeah, no, I don't make my own petticoats, although I am having to modify a hoop skirt. I bought a hoop skirt for a child and I'm turning it into a pop-up hood.
Oh, that's smart.
So the hood's going to be snapped and magnetized down here so that Safina's head like pops up properly, but it's going to have a hood attached so that I can knock it down and it will fold over and the weight of the hood will pull it and it won't do that weird just straight out thing. It'll just pull it back all the way.
That's smart.
So while I'm not feeling the curse of petticoats, I understand because this hoop skirt is fighting me every which way to manipulate it, but it looks cool. It's working. It's just it hates me. Because hoop skirts aren't meant to be hoods, but I'm turning it into one.
I don't cosplay girls for a reason. I don't do skirts and dresses, and I am horrified because I have to at Sakura-con, and I'm like, I'm going to be relying very heavily on my cosplay team there because I'm going to just like every doorway is going to be a nightmare, and I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Listen, I feel like I'm ready to deal with a skirt far sooner than I am ready to make pants. I don't like making pants. If they're not puffy pants, I don't want them. Like
I like making pants, but that's just because I mostly work with stretch materials and I'm very good with anything that's stretch. I can make stretch do stuff that should be impossible, but that's what I started with. I started with 4-way stretch spandex and leather, so I can make both of those materials do stuff that's bizarre.
Yeah, I just don't like I don't like pants. I'm getting better at making them. I'm honestly really good at making pants. I'm just so it feels so picky. They have so many more fabric pieces in my brain.
If you have any kind of curve whatsoever and you don't have stretch, there's a lot more. There's like gussets and darts and all kinds of streamlining of the pattern involved to make sure that it fits properly.
Yeah.
And the cool thing for people interested is on top of everything, the cosplay app also has a resource page. You know what? I can probably show the resource page.
I've got it up. I can pull it right now if you want me to.
Yeah, pull it up. So there's a resource page and it has free patterns. It has 3D print stuff. It has like how to stay sane as a cosplayer when trying to sell your products. How to be healthy online. Like it has so many resources and it's a little bit of everything. It has ears and tail covers because they started out as an ear and tail company. I didn't mean to wear my ears and tail when doing this company. It just happened to be that way today. But the resources are super, super, super useful, especially their patterns and 3D prints. They're so helpful because we try to keep it as free as possible because this is a community built by all of us. And I have a hard time with patterns. It's something I really, really, really struggle with because when I started learning how to sew, it was from a grandmother who just taught me how to take clothing and alter them and then turn it into something. And then I just kind of took what I learned and then made them into real pieces. So now I'm like, I don't know how to use a pattern. I used a pattern for D-Lit and had a full meltdown. You can ask my cosplay partner. I cried like 5 times doing that because it was a pattern. Deuce, no issues at all. Only cried once, and that was near the end of Con Crunch. Like I made all those patterns myself, no issues. But the nice thing is I use some of the patterns on here, and then I reached out to the Discord and I'm like, I'm crying, please help me. And people on there are so kind and so knowledgeable, and they like helped me break down where lines went, what I needed to remember. My dart wasn't working fun, so somebody helped me troubleshoot. Like it's such a great resource of a community, especially if you're trying to learn how to do new stuff, because there's a wide range of us and all of us do a little bit of everything. So if you have a question about anything, I'm sure somebody can answer it or help you brainstorm. And so this is just a part of the app. It's just the app is free. I guess we should have said that at the beginning. The app is free. All these resources are on there for you to use. So if you're intimidated and you're not sure where to start, or if you want to get into cosplay or you're trying new techniques, like this might be a really good place to start, because if you hit a road bump, you can just reach out to the community. And even in the whip, instead of just posting what you're building, you can be like, hey, I'm working on this. I don't know why it's not putting together well, or this seam is being funny, and people are going to probably answer it because we're going to see your question versus like, this is what I'm working on. And it's just really, really nice. And no, cosplayers don't have sanity. I see your comment, but we can try to pretend we do. We're good actors.
We do. We love to pretend. We really like to act like we're not like zooming in on a picture like at 2 a.m. in the morning, being like, how was that made? Like, I don't, when it's not real. It's not real. The thing that we're trying to make is not real at all. And we're like, wow.
That's why I have so much. I have a lot of butcher paper. And I like to draw things out of butcher paper and then put it on my body and see like, oh, this is completely like unnatural. It's not organic. How can I modify the design to make it more organic?
With Deuce, I very specifically was like, I'm making this into 2 parts so I don't have to cry as much. So like I made a skirt and then a tunic top instead of a full tunic because it had a bunch of like this kind of action going on.
That's
and I'm like, I don't actually know what that is.
Closely now I can't freaking wear her. So, get it. I get it. Sometimes you're like, I'm gonna make it look like, oh, okay, making it look like it didn't work. So we're gonna try something else because I'm a human and I gotta pee.
Yeah, exactly. Like, as much as I love the fact that samurai have like actual wrapped shins in like fabric, I want to take my pants off, you know? Like,
yeah, no, there's just some things, some elements that it works for certain things, but unless you want to wear a diaper,
like, I don't know how many times I've like scoured a costume for seams, and anytime I find an animator who puts seams in their costume, I'm like, or like the characters build, I'm like, bless your heart. Like, whoever you are, please give them a raise because they bothered to put a seam in this outfit. I love you because that helps me gauge where it needs to be.
Well, and there's even some, I mean, even in like ones that aren't even animated or comics, there are even still some like the live action movies. They've done such a good job of hiding where stuff is now that it takes seeing the after shots, the behind the scenes footage to realize that they magnetize them into it, or half of it was CG, and you're like, you jerks. I was trying to make that, and half that's computer generated. I hate you.
It's just so sad when you have to like text your friend that's in LA to be like, go to the museum, hunt down Wanda's messed up costume for me.
So I was halfway through Deuce when the art book got released in America. I dropped everything and drove an hour away to the nearest Japanese bookstore and like,
yeah, because you said you couldn't make it to the stream. You're like, I'm getting this book.
I literally was on stream and then left and like drove to Seattle and like got my book and then proceeded to cry when I opened it because I had the entire breakdown from the bottom up to that costume, and I had already finished the bottom layers and they were all wrong. And so I redid a good chunk of them because I was like, if only you had come out two or 3 months earlier and this wouldn't have happened to me. But I'm sitting here crying because it's a competition build and now I have resources, which means they have to be accurate.
That's why Kadusha's clay from Critical Role has honestly been intimidating me. Like, the outfit itself isn't really that complicated. Like, I love painting on things. It's just a jacket, a shirt, and pants with some boot covers. The complicated aspect of it is there's no turnaround. I have one photo. So I'm guessing what the whole backside of this character looks like. And I'm going,
but like you can make it your own.
I know, but it's still like
fun with
for some reason it keeps breaking me.
Backside view of a costume.
Yeah,
I'm like open
all of these really
interpretation.
interesting, like lightning-ish designs coming off the bottom of the coat. So I think it'll be fun, but it's also like, well, how does, like, I'm assuming it has to have a cinch in the back because otherwise it wouldn't open the way it does because it's a trench coat and they have to be made larger so that they can flare at the bottom. And then I finally noticed while looking closer, there's actually a split in the back. So I'm like, oh, so it's not cinched. They actually did just cut a whole triangle in the back so that it would. I'm guessing here. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you can make it your own, but then part of me is like, I will say the Critical Role fandom's really, really nice, but off and on you'll get those people that are like, that's not accurate. Well, how do you know there's one photo?
lot of
Ah,
Twisted Wonderland
imagine.
saying that the second card has like the back image, because like, or if it's a costume that all of the boys wear, like the ceremony robes, like hoping that one of them is turned around. Like with when I originally was working on Deuce, I opened like all of the characters from that arc like up and like looked through all their costumes to get a generalized idea of what I thought was going on before the art book got out, because I was like, okay, we have 5 boys, all of them have fairly close to each other costumes. Like there is some like minor detail changes, but I'm like, I can use these. And like one of them, he was like holding there's like these tails that come off the jacket, and he was holding the tails up. So I could see that there was tails and that he had these like huge, like freaking tassels hanging off of them. And I'm like, no. So
Yeah, it's hard. So we've got a comment that says, or outfits that defy the laws of physics, like Yuna's wedding dress, or like Elsa's just magical. Yeah, that's where you really get to start playing with dance mesh or with athletic mesh too, so that you can create that illusion, or you get to very friendly with Prosaid and you glue the crap out of yourself.
Yep.
I've done that.
Right.
I have when I was doing when I did Ganon, Fem Ganon, I was like, all right, I'm literally taping half this outfit up because there's no way this will stay up without security. Like gravity will push these armbands down all day long, even with silicone wraps. Like it will just start falling down. So
Yeah.
tape and I got real close fashion tape. Yeah. We became best friends that day. But there's you're right. There's just things that that's where you have to look at the character and you have to look at the reality of gravity and humanity and how our bodies actually work. And sometimes you just have to change something to, as long as you get like the character's color, their like the colors that they wear, you get like their hair, and usually just the general form correct, most people are gonna know who you are.
Yeah, people will know who you are. And plus, sometimes when you realize that the stuff you have to do is like stuff that, like, you're doing stuff that could are doing when you have to defy gravity and stuff, then you're like, okay, maybe I don't have to be like
Yeah.
that crazy.
I mean,
Like,
the only time I've done a few things that have defied gravity, like I helped Thermo Sidekick with her Raven hood. We just put some armature wire in it. Like anytime that you can hide it inside of a garment and have wire or stuff, great. But if it's literally just floating on the skin, half the time I ignore it unless it's like a significant part, and then I would probably mess with mesh.
Yeah, it's a lot of just like how comfortable do you want to be? How do you interpret it? Because like my next big build, everything else is not that intimidating. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do some foam here, I'm gonna do some fabric here. But he has this like, all I can think of is a lace front wig that has these horns that come back and they light up. But he also has this like lace thing going on with all of these scales because he's a dragon. So it's like this lace piece with all these details
so
that go
extra.
into the wig, and then it has all these scales that come down his face. And I'm like,
He's so much.
I don't know what to do with you. Like, I am going to cry through this, but that's what Cost Planner is for. So I can just sit and break down everything. But I'm going to have to figure out how to defy gravity. And like, I'm going to make this. I'm not going to paint it on every time. It's going to be a piece that's part of the wig. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to make it happen.
Ooh, foam clay, and use some of the 2-part silicone epoxy, because you could put it on like a nude lace, like a nude mesh, and you could
That's what I was
permanently
thinking.
glue it on, and then you could just use
I was gonna
wood
just,
tape
like,
to attach it every time.
Lace front wig, and then just like take out like the top half of the wig and like put this in, and then like redo.
Or what you could do is,
just
when
to
if you're
make it
using
nice.
a lace front wig, don't even take the lace off. Attach
Yeah.
it to, and then once it's lined up, then you can remove the lace if you're worried about it, like when you have to clean the wig and stuff. But
Yeah.
like, do it while the lace is still attached, and then like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
But yeah, no, I'm crying over that because I'm like, nothing is human about this. Like, there's nothing remotely human about this, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But that's okay. That's what
Cosplay Planner
friends are for. So you can brainstorm with humans and be like, what do I do?
Yeah. So before we head out, because we're at the end of the episode already, Choco, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. It is Cosplay Choco there as well. And feel free to ask me any questions. I like talking about cosplay a lot, so that's cool.
And Choco's very experienced maker, especially when it comes to sewing. Like, you've helped me a few times. We're like, this looks so complicated. No, it's not. Just do this. I was like, oh, oh, like when we shared a room one time, and I was like, how'd you do that? Oh, she's like this, and this, and she looked like, you know how to make stuff. I'm like, I'm more of a special effects person, so thank you.
But that's why we make friends, so we can learn how to do other things. I'm Chibi Raincloud on everything. I'm Chibi Raincloud on Cosgear, the Cos Planner, on Discord, on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook. It should all be there now. I have my next conventions coming up. If anyone's going to be at Anime Washington, I'll be there. Just floating around. You'll see me at the cosplay contest, but other than that, I have no panels. I have no plans. I'm literally just going to have fun for the first time in ages. My last 2 cons, I worked the entire weekends nonstop. So I'm like, next con, chill. Nothing.
Fun.
I'm not doing anything. So come say hi though. I will have my emergency kit on me, and I will have I'll just be there to chill and hang out. So come say hi. I'm really hyped about that. But go check out Cos Planner. It is, or Cosgear's Cos Planner on the App Store, Discord, on their website, whatever you want to do it with. I just find the phone is easier. But the website, like as you were saying, is just as easy and really nice to use. But have a help out. Come say hi to us, Cos Talk Live people. If you have questions, you can message us. If not, go message them on their Discord.
And then Choco, when is your next event?
Literally next weekend. I'm really excited. I'm going to my first Savannah convention. I'm hoping to compete, like let's arms cross. So I have to go back in and revamp stuff. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Revamping's fun. And you can reach me at thermocosplay.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and I'll be my YouTube's going to start picking up again in February, so I'll be posting more there. I'm just, my next event's Tempe FanCon, but like that's just a library con, and I just go there because they're cool.
No, hype up the Tempe Library Con. It's a party.
It's so fun. It's free, and like, oh man, so like last year they had 2,500 people show up.
Wow.
And there's only like enough parking for what, 200-300?
Right. Not that many.
Oh my god.
So they were like parking, and it was funny seeing people park in the neighborhoods and just watching a stream of kids dressed up of like Wolverine or Power Rangers. There's a little Godzilla. Like it's just, it was great.
Go
like,
support small cons. Like, yeah, go support small cons. I'm so excited. Anime Washington, it's their first year. Like, this is the first time they're doing anything. They are, the owners are the ones that run SummerCon. So anybody in Washington State knows SummerCon. Same company. So I do have a lot of hope that this con is going to be super fun. I'm really hyped.
It'll be cool.
It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I'm excited to chill. I'm excited to support a little con and just be like, I'm just going to have fun and be myself. Maybe I can blend in with the crowd and just disappear for the day. That's the whole goal, is I just want to go shopping and just chill.
Man, I miss those. That's why this year, like, I'm not doing, because I did 25 events last year. I'm not doing that this year. I think I've only got 6 or 7, and most of them are like 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, just chill cons. Like, my big event this year is just SoccerCon coming up. Like, that's my big one. You might see me at a couple others. I'll be making my announcement.
Are you going to Dragon Con, Choco?
I'm going to Momo.
Okay.
I'm not going to Dragon. Everyone keeps trying to make me go to Dragon. I don't know. Maybe I'll go, but for sure.
I'm going now. I got a
Momo's in the
hotel.
cards.
I got it.
What? Now I gotta go.
I'm going to Dragon Con.
Have fun. No, I am like, I have Anime Washington in 2 weeks. And then a couple weeks after that, I have Emerald City Comic Con because Norse Foundry invited me to work again. And then I have SoccerCon, which I do panels, competition, and all the crazy stuff. So like,
I won't be making it to Seattle this year, but my sister's getting married soon, and it's too close to when most of the Seattle.
I want to be there, but like, it's fine. We'll miss you up here, but we'll figure it out.
But we'll see you guys around. We'll be around next week. I think next week we're talking about competing in cosplay, right? Is that what we're doing? Let me check. I'm gonna double check. What do I have for next week? I have convention recommendations. So next week, this will be a good conversation. We can talk about conventions in different areas, and I know I've traveled all over, and then we've all got different places that we can represent now, and so this will be good. We get to talk about convention recommendations for 2024.
Exciting. Well, thank you
Otherwise,
so
have
much,
a good weekend,
everyone.
everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see all of you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.